Kids, I'm in my music room right now. You'll look behind my shoulder. Y'all can see my guitar, my ukulele, my dumbra. Dumbra is the national instrument of Kazakhstan, obviously. And I'm actually at my piano now. And that's because y'all are going to learn that Fur Elise song. All right. Now, the reason we're going to do this song is because it has that repeated part in the beginning. And it'd be way easier to program that, not as like every individual note, but if you can kind of program it to just have one span of repeated thing. Like do it once and then say repeat 6 times. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you look at my what I've got right now, it's a little different than what y'all have been programming. So if you look at my void setup here, instead of typing the frequency of the note, I wrote E5. And instead of typing the length of the quarter note, I just typed the word quarter. Listen, there may come a day where you thought you wanted your quarter note to be 100 milliseconds, and you're like, actually, that's too short. And then you have to go through every single line of code and change everything from 100 to 120 or whatever. It's going to take forever, and you're going to hate yourself. You're like, oh, man. So instead of having to do that in the future, we're just going to define quarter note once and then address that, like refer back to it. That way, if you ever need to change the duration of the note, you just do it once in the program and not every single line of code. So that's what I have up here on the top, if y'all see. So I define my quarter notes to be 100 milliseconds, my half notes to be 200, my whole notes to be 800. I made this up. I don't know if it sounds good. I haven't even tested this yet. But just define it somehow, and if you want it to be shorter or longer, you can change it later. You know what you can also do? Life hack. Is you can define the quarter note to be 100, and you can say you want the half note to be quarter times 2. You can change the whole note to be half times 2. There you go. Now you only define one note length in the entire thing. It's way easier. So in the future, you're not going to type in every single like millisecond in your code. You're just going to have it once defined in the top. And below that, I defined my music notes. So that way, instead of having to look at your chart every time, you can just type C5 when you need C5. And then my setup here, I have my first 2 notes. It's, you got to do it 6 times. So na 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 na. And what you'd probably want to do is you want to copy and paste it like this below. However, that has a couple of issues. First, makes your code really ugly. Like in the future, you're gonna have your own sheet music. It's gonna be really long. Like that's gonna take a lot of scrolling. So we're not going to copy and paste it. I'm going to show you how to make a loop to just tell the program, do this 6 times. Okay? Now the first thing we're going to do is we have to create a variable. Doesn't matter what letter. I'm just going to call my variable I. If you want it to be G or A or whatever, you can do whatever you want. And then in my void setup here, I'm going to say for the variable I, hold on, I have to, how do I do this again? Okay, so you have to give it a starting point. So for I that starts at 0, you want it to go 6 times. So until it's less than 6, add 1 to I each time. Okay, don't do a semicolon after this. So then after that, have brackets between the things you want to repeat, and whammo, it'll repeat 6 times. Now, why is that? That's because you're saying that this I++, that means add 1 every time. And this thing in the middle, I less than 6, that means stop it once I gets to 6. So I will start at 0, then I will be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then it'll move on. So it'll keep on doing it, like adding 1 to I every time. Doesn't matter how it works. What matters is that it repeats your loop. Okay. So in your OneNote, I have for Elise. Go ahead and program the whole song with all those little loops, and let me know if you have any questions. Miss you guys.